Okay, I don't. Oh, there we go. Okay, I was trying to figure out. Wait, where did the timer go? And yes, and some of you don't know, so I'm gonna shoot a little bit. So, here we go. Chapter 14. There's always a catch. Woohoo! Been a while since I updated so fast. Fan warning: this has got to be one of the darkest chapters I've ever written. Joy. Moonbeam in Trixie's room was decorated in starry wallpaper. Moonbeam spent the first 20 minutes of the voyage turning the lights on and off, for decorative stars shone like real stars in the dark. Trixie lay in her blue canopy bound outside the room, too deep down to be bugged by her daughter's antics. She wondered what it would be like to see her mother again. Even if she wasn't dying, Trixie imagined it would be a most unpleasant reunion. They were never close. Not even before Trixie was banished. She also wondered what she could do when she was queen. If she were the same champion she was 25 years ago, she would be fantasizing about servants giving her hoover cures, washing her hair, and bringing her tea and cakes. Now she was like a voice to patch up the colony in the way her brother had envisioned. She'd overheard him talk about it with Screwball this morning. Twilight most likely tagged along this quest so she could form an alliance with the changelings. Since Trixie had no plans to take over the culture anyway, that might be first on the agenda. Sorry about that. Terrible. Then Trixie touched her chest and yearned for her heart to beat back inside. That was the main reason she agreed to take the throne. She wanted to feel again, and the Changelings had a heartless queen for too long. Based on what she had heard of her grandmother, Queen Arachne, she didn't think she had been the nicest ruler either. She wasn't alone in this, she figured. The rest of the Changelings were heartless too, except they had been born that way. It was because of that they couldn't help their hunger for love. Before, Trixie had never... Dang. Constipation. Or something. Not constipation, but... Trixie had never required as much, but after removing her heart, it became harder for her to survive without draining some point every once in a while. Some nights she would go out in disguise and find some point looking for a good time, which she was not proud of, but it was necessary to feed herself and her daughter whenever she had her special cravings. Moonbeam still didn't know where her special food came from, and it was best left away. Eventually she would learn what she could do now that she was going back to her roots, but she didn't have to know the data of her mother's hunts. When Trixie felt she was going to have a seizure with the constant light flickering, she snapped at her daughter. Would you stop that? Moonbeam pressed the lamp one more time and lighted the room and grinned sheepishly. Sorry, I just can't get over this room. It's incredible. Aunt Screwy did a great job on this thing. Trixie sat up and raised an eyebrow. Aunt Screwy? She's marrying Uncle Monty, so that makes her my future aunt, right? Her mother rolled her eyes. Whatever, honey. Moonbeam grabbed her back clothes and rocked back and forth on her bed. So, Mom, can you tell me more about this hive? Like, are there changelings my age? I'm sure there are. Martha gives birth every month or so, except for when she's not... She quickly stopped herself. Never mind. How come you told me Grandma was dead? And Uncle Molly says she left home. Mother kicked me out when I was 18, because she didn't think I was a good enough ruler. It was just for 5 years, but I'd grown used to being a pony. She didn't really like my decision. Best that you thought she was dead so you stopped asking about her. She's not really the grandma type you want to associate yourself with. Oh, Moonbeam responded, not really understanding what her mother was saying. So, do we have any other family besides her and Uncle Monty? Actually, the queen gives birth to all the changelings, so you technically have thousands of aunts and uncles. Felix's jaw dropped. No way! I have a lot of relatives to play with. Maybe some of the younger ones will play, but most of them would just treat you as a superior. You'd be next enough for the throne, after all. Does it mean I'll get to be queen someday? Trixie sighed. Yes, when I'm gone, you will be crowned. Moonbeam suddenly looked very nervous and glanced down at her boots. You think they'll like me? Her mother shrugged. You're royalty. They have to like you. Okay, but... Well, since I'll be with a bunch of creatures who are just as strange as me, will I be able to be myself? She pointed to her hat. Trixie's eyes widened. Sweetie, she said. She walked over to her daughter. You do realize that even for a changeling, your special traits aren't normal? Moonbeam sighed. I know, but maybe you won't mind. Maybe they won't mind. Trixie paused. You're the princess, so they'll probably ignore it. However, now that you're going to be a princess, I'll have to start training you. We'll start working on your transformations and your flying. I'll even teach you how to cover those things up without disguise. Her daughter frowned. Mom, don't you think... I'm not going to lie to you, sweetie. Once we get to the hive, things will be much different. She smiled in confidence, moving to her head with a bemused expression. She wasn't sure why, but she couldn't help but get the feeling that her mother was hiding something. Well, okay, she said shrilly as she leaped out of bed. I'm going to go on deck and check out the view. Have fun, Trixie said with a wave. Moving flashed a smile which disappeared as soon as she was out the door. She looked back at her white disco pants and down at her red rubber boots. Then she put a hood to her purple cap. Why do I always have to hide? She murmured. General Mantis woke from his nap and quickly turned his attention to the queen lying before him. He sighed in relief when he saw her chest rising and falling. It wasn't easy for him, seeing her so frail and helpless. He had seen her in similar states whenever they were imprisoned by Celestia. But this was different. In prison, there had always been hope for escape, and Chrysalis was strong enough to endure the worst of torture. Right now, it was only a matter of time before her spiritual flame, which was once a roaring fire, would extinguish forever. General had always admired the headstrong queen. She was nearly a decade older than him, so he had known her all his life. Even as a teenager, she had always seemed to have a mind of her own, being the only one in the hive to have the guts to talk back to Queen Arachne. She also showed more power than even her own mother. He had witnessed her transformation into a chimera, when the fiercest thing he had seen Arachne turn into was a mere lion. The day the former queen died and Chrysalis took the throne, Mantis had seen the uneasiness in the young princess and wanted to comfort her. He quickly became the queen's favorite, and it was long before he was named general. He had been there for everything. The Heartless Reformation, the attacks in Timbuktu, Trot, Canterlot, Ponyville, amongst countless other cities. He had even been there when Chrysalis had and lost both her heirs. He didn't always agree with her decisions. He had advised against banishing her daughter and was horrified when he discovered she had removed her own heart. She had once thrown him in a volcano for making a mistake. Luckily, the accident only left him with a singed and chipped horn, which he cut with a metal tip. Nevertheless, he always followed his orders. He was more than just loyal to his queen. He would die for her. But it seemed she was going to die first. Chrysalis let out a soft moan as she slowly awoke. Good morning, Your Majesty, Mantis greeted softly. She huffed. What's so good about it? It just might be my last morning. He bowed his head apologetically. I'm sorry, my queen. She put her head over to him. Have you been here all night? You shouldn't be alone, Your Majesty. When you... Oh, cut the act. I know why you're really here. His head shot up in confusion. What do you mean, Your Majesty? She sighed. You really think I never knew, Mantis? I can see into others' hearts, remember? You recall I never took yours in the Reformation like I did the others? Since it was always directed towards me, I thought it'd do you good. Even if you seemed hesitant at times, you never fully disobeyed me. You're devoted to me. I don't need much to see that. Mantis looked away in shame. Chrysalis gave him a sympathetic smile. Frankly, Mantis, you're the closest thing to a friend I've ever had. I can always count on you to get things done, and when I need a second opinion, you lend me your voice. She sighed sadly. Don't tell me to do this. But it sounds like this that I wondered if removing my heart was a good idea. It's my fault, Mantis whispered. She shook her head. You weren't the cause of my pain. He boldly faced her again. You destroyed yourself. You took a bow and shot yourself with it. You took a bow and shot yourself with it. I told you where to find the arrows. Chrysalis rolled her eyes. Splendid metaphor, but it was all my doing. I didn't have to take your advice. I just wanted your suffering to end. I had no idea you were going to destroy any chance of happiness you might have. I should have never sent you to him. She scoffed. Ironic, isn't it, Mantis? Mother always told me not to let my emotions get the best of me, but by getting rid of my emotions, I let them do just that. Chrysalis had only been queen for 2 weeks, and already complaints were being made about her. Whenever a changing approached her with a problem, she said she would get back to them tomorrow, but never did. The soldiers, who wanted to pursue Arachne's vision, pleaded the new queen to meet with them to discuss her invasion plans in Questia, but she kept putting it off. She spent most days in her chamber, though no one was sure what she did in there. That was why Private Mantis was knocking at the door. General Hales had sent him because the Queen seemed to favor him. He knew better than to question General's decision. What? The Queen snapped from inside. Mantis dropped back. Private Mantis, my Queen. There was silence for a moment, followed by a low groan. Come in. He opened the door cautiously and found the Queen pacing around the chamber. Is everything all right, my Queen? He asked. She stopped and turned to him. Yes, yes. Close the door, would you? Oh, that buzzing's giving me a headache. He obeyed her command and stepped fully in the room. Forgive the intrusion, Your Majesty, but the soldiers were wondering when we should begin our invasion on Equestria. She groaned and collapsed in her bed. You heard my mother. I have to produce an army strong enough to conquer Discord. Is that why you're so agitated, my Queen? You're concerned about your first offspring. She shook her head. I couldn't care less about offspring at the moment. The word struck the Private, but he didn't dictate his thoughts. We might not have time to wait for new changes to grow, he said. The scouts have reported that the Equestrian princes are already searching for a way to defeat Discord. These refuge starts were the bearded. The general suggests we take them out first. Chrissy shook her head again. No. Well then, should we start gaining Discord's trust? Since he seems fond of that Celestia, maybe if you take her form and pretend to be on his side. No! She shouted, sitting up on the bed. He jumped, putting his hoof to his heart. Chris decided and lay back down. He wasn't so sure what to do now. The Queen seemed distraught, and Mendeslov felt the urge to comfort her. He levitated his helmet and took out a blue cornflower he had found in the forest that morning. He coughed nervously, catching the Queen's attention. When she saw the flower, Krista sat up, looking confused. He stammered, rubbing the back of his neck. That you could use something more in your day, Your Majesty. Krista illuminated her and took the flower from him. She stared at it longingly. You just don't understand, Mantis, she sighed. I just can't face him again. I wanted to pay for hurting me, but I also can't bear the thought of hurting him. If only there was a way I could face him without so much conflict within me. She set down the flower and left a stack of books. I have looked in every spellbook I can find, she declared, but the cure doesn't seem to be in here. What exactly are you looking for, Your Majesty? Mantis besieged. Something to mend my broken heart. Something to rid me of this plague. I considered draining myself emotions like we do the others, but since that never bodes well for the victims, I decided against it. I need a spell that can do that, but still keep my body intact. He watched as she writhed in agony. What she expert sounded very serious, but he wanted to help her nonetheless. Didn't he remember something else in the scout's reports that might be of use to her? But he hesitated. It was a dangerous suggestion that could lead to horrific results. However, if it would ease his Queen's pain, he had to take the risk. Perhaps, my Queen, he said with a gulp, you should consult someone with more expertise. Like who? Quizla snorted. I doubt Discord would help me, and every other nearby woods has gone into hiding. They might not be able to help you anyway. You said so yourself. What you look for cannot be found in any regular spellbooks. This kind of magic sounds like something that would be forbidden. She tapped her chin. You're right. Ridding oneself of emotions is rather dark, isn't it? Why didn't I think of that before? Let's see, who do I know who knows a thing or two about dark magic? The man just took a deep breath at what he was about to suggest. A few days ago, the scouts from the north reported that the Crystal Empire has been taken over by an evil shadow pony. A shadow pony? Chris repeated, raising an eyebrow. I thought those things had gone extinct. Apparently not. He calls himself Sombra, king of all monsters. The scouts weren't able to find much information. They didn't dare get too close to the creature, but they said he wielded some of the darkest magic they had ever seen. Really? She thought thoughtfully. Perhaps he could be of some help. Perhaps, Mantis said quietly. Quista fluttered her wings and rose on the floor. I think I'll pay the Sombra a visit. But my Queen, he fearfully protested, we don't know what this creature is capable of. Perhaps on the searchers should escort you. I'll be fine on my own. If he tries anything, I'll just do what Mother taught me. Take care of things while I'm gone, Mantis. Me? But I'm just a low-rank private. Not anymore. I'm promoting you to Lieutenant General. His jaw dropped. But that's the highest rank below General. Keep up the good work, you just might replace that idiot Hales. She winked him before departing. Chrysalis reached the Crystal Empire, she disguised herself as a Pegasus. Below her, the once dazzling crystal boys now lacked luster and were in chains. They seemed to be digging for something, but Chrysalis didn't have time to ponder on that. She caught sight of a black unicorn in fur-lined red cape overseeing his slaves on the balcony. His black mane moved like a shadow. His eyes glowed green and secreted smoke, and his red horn was curved and pointy. Even Chrysalis shivered in his presence. She landed behind him and greeted. King Sombra, I presume? He turned around in alarm and scowled. His red horn glowed dangerously black. What are you doing up here? How'd you escape? Chrysalis rolled her eyes and changed her true form. Sombra's magic dimension, he tilted his head in confusion. A changeling? Queen of changelings, to be exact, Chris said proudly. He smirked and bowed. Sincerest apologies, your majesty. Sombra didn't mind the queen's presence. He had nothing against changelings. Now tell me, he said as he straightened up, what brings you to my fair kingdom? She stepped forth. I hear you are skilled in dark magic. He shrugged. Cops naturally for us shadow ponies. Well, I need a spell, something that regular magic cannot accomplish. If you can help me, my army will be at your disposal, should those goody four-shoes princes come to dethrone you. The king rubbed his chin with interest. What sort of spell? Something that can rid one of emotions, specifically love. He scoffed. Don't you changelings already do that? Yes, but it's forbidden for a changeling to do that to another. And even if that wasn't the case, it would leave the victim weak and helpless. This spell wouldn't happen to before yourself, now would it? Chrysalis did not reply. Very well. Keep your secrets. I think I know what you're looking for. Follow me. He led into the castle, which was quite dark on the inside. In the middle of the throne room's floor was a large staircase leading underground. When he gestured her to follow, she illuminated her horn not just for light, but in case the king was leading her to a trap. The spiral staircase was long and winding, and it felt like hours before they reached the bottom. There was a door with a black crystal above it. Sombra lit his horn and shot a beam at the gem. The door opened into a study. As they went in, he pulled a book off a shelf and opened it on his desk. Let's see, he said as he skimmed through the pages. It should be. There. He tapped his hoof on an open page. Chrysalis peered over his shoulder and read its contents. The heartless spell, he said aloud. This is guaranteed to cure you of your broken heart. She looked at him with wide eyes. He sighed sadly. Let's say I know what you're going through. Chrysalis took a moment to look into his heart. There wasn't much love in it, but she saw that it was all directed towards a foolish crystal unicorn with a luscious turquoise mane. Let me guess, she smirked. She didn't agree with your political views. He scowled at her. You keep your secrets and I'll keep mine. Chrysalis shrugged and looked back at the spell. As she read it over, her eyes widened in fear. It says here that I have to separate my heart from my body? Don't worry, it's completely painless, Sombra assured her. Probably. But if I don't have my heart, won't I? Only if you don't do the spell right. See, this won't change your heart so that you will still live, but you won't be connected to the emotions it produces, including love. After all, you can't have a broken heart if you don't have a heart to break. She touched the part of her chest where her heartbeat was. I won't be hurting anymore? He shrugged. It should take most of the pain away, but not all emotions come from the heart. It says here you won't be able to feel love. However, you should know that where dark magic is concerned, there's always a cost. If you remove your heart, you may find yourself in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. Since you're a changeling, it might have different effects on you. That's why I never tried to spell it myself. Besides, he hung his head. Pain and heartbreak is what's kept me going. Whatever the price, Chrysalis said in determination, I'm willing to pay it. She just wanted the pain to go away. Going voices is hard. Very well, Sombra said. Can't say I didn't warn you. Chrysalis read the book's instructions carefully and ready herself for the spell. She illuminated her horn and focused intently on her hoof. It soon gave off an equal glow. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes as she plunged her glowing hoof into her chest. It went straight through as if her chest was non-existent. Chris let out a cry as she clenched her hoof around the squishy organ. She brought it out and opened her eyes. In her hoof was a glowing green heart, still thumping with life. She touched her chest with her other hoof and felt nothing inside. That wasn't all that was different. The pain, the agony that had been plaguing her for weeks, had vanished. Just like that. Someone left an ivory chest in front of her and indicated her to put the heart in. She did so, and after giving the organ one last glance, shut the lid over. You want to keep it safe, the king said. Your life force is still connected to it, so if your heart is damaged, well, you get the picture. He smirked. So, your majesty, how do you feel now? I feel... She stammered, not taking her eyes off the box on her hoofs. I feel... She felt nothing, at least emotionally. Her senses had rapidly gone cold without her heart keeping flowing. However, another organ which still remained within her was churning. With not much else to suppress it, the sensation bubbled inside her and spread to the rest of her body. Soon she could think of nothing else. I feel, she said again, hungry. She turned her head slowly towards Sombra, her eyes shimmering green. The king backed away in fear, knowing what Ching she fed on. The queen hissed and pounced on him, pinning him against the wall. I helped you, Sombra reminded her. You're not going to, are you? She smirked smugly. No. She released him as he sat down to the floor with a relieved sigh. Like the shadows. I thought you gently flourished on the emotions of others. Yes, but it's a certain emotion I'm craving for. One you seem to lack of. Which one is it? Summer asked nervously. Her lips curled into a sinister smile. You wouldn't mind if I snagged on a few of your crystal ponies, would you? First time Summer makes an official appearance in my stories. His origin comic brought me to tears. Well, since every major disaster seemed to have happened 1,000 years before the show, I figured Summer would be around at the time. We don't know exactly how long he was in power. I also figured Chris had to have gotten the Heartless spell from somewhere, and Summer was the first dark magic user that came to mind.